Still May 10th. Couple things. I've just been thinking about, like, I need to be honest with him. I need to be honest with him about my intentions. Now that it's shifted, right? Clearly, like, it's no longer a, like, oh, I mean, we're still friends. I think we're still friends. I know I'm overthinking it. but I think I have intentions. I have intentions, right? At the end of the day, I have intentions. And as much as I just want to have fun, you know, that always has a potential for it to lead to something else. And I don't want to mislead him. I think that's what it is. I don't want to mislead him now that I know, right? Now that I know that I am going to be looking, right? That I am wanting to, not necessarily that I want to date other people. I mean, because clearly he's again the person in front of me, but maybe just clarify. Because it's not like I want to be dating like 5 different people at once. That's just, no. That's just not my style. Yeah. I'm a one kind of person at a time kind of person. Monogamous for the moment. Yeah, it's just, I think just with that new awareness of, like, you know, I do want to have someone. But, so here's what I realized. I need to find out if he's watched my videos. 1. Why? Because that's important to me, right? That will evoke people getting triggered, and that'll work on the healing, and then, you know, he'll see too, right? If this is something that is in alignment with him, right? Because clearly if he's not, move right along. And we just stay friends. And I think it's I think it'll just help to clarify now that I have this new awareness of what I'm wanting. I guess. And not necessarily that we have to be anything official, because again, it's still this process of, like, learning about each other to see if it's in alignment, right? Because I'm not going to. I have my values. I know what's important to me, right? The spiritual path is important to me, and if he's not in alignment with it, then he's not, and he's free to do his own thing, right? And I think there's a part of me, I think I just, especially after what he said last time, or at least what I heard, and I guess I just want to clarify that, like, so you're not seeing other people anymore. So then technically it's just me, right? So then it's which, you know, I'm fine with, but at the same time knowing that I think I just want to make sure that our values are in alignment. That's really what it is and because he hasn't, like, watched all my videos, you know, I'm entertaining ideas that, like, my dreams like have this potential of becoming, right? Which, again, I'm comfortable for whatever's coming in my path, right? I know that I'm being prepared for it. Like, I know that I'm being prepared for that next step, and then that's going to continue to prepare me for the next step. But if some of these dreams are really like that, like down the road, right? Like, I mean, does he need to know that now? I mean, as a friend, I would share this with a friend, and I have. Like, I've shared this with some of my friends. I know some of my friends don't believe me. Other friends do. I don't have a lot of friends. We start there. So it's not like I have like a pods of people to like, and it doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is what I believe. But if I'm going to engage in a connection with someone, there has to be an alignment with what I believe, right? And having that support in that process, because it doesn't make sense to be with someone who thinks you're crazy, right? And isn't in alignment with your values. Like, it just, for me, it just doesn't make sense anymore, right? Because that's where I came from. I'm overthinking it. I know I am, but I think I think the challenge that I have is, how am I going to share this with him? Like, how am I going to communicate? Because I kind of have to backtrack, especially if he's not watching the videos. Not that I'm expecting him to be where, you know, up to date, clearly, right? It's like 2 years worth of videos, at least. But at least catch him up to where I am now, and what my intentions are now, knowing what I know. Yeah. Knowing what I know. I guess. And I'm not worried. Like I said, like, I think having that realization over the week and helped to be okay, right? Be okay with him moving on, because that's okay, because the person who's meant for me, right, will stay with me. The person who's meant for me will catch up to me. Like there's just, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I mean, I'd be bummed out, yeah, because I really like it. And I'm still getting to know him, right? But so there's always that possibility, right, of it not working out. Not necessarily on his end, but could be for me, right? I could totally see something and be like, yeah, no, sorry, peace. Right? If he's not willing to change. And vice versa, right? Because I'm learning at the same time. So I guess there's this, and then the thing is too about values, it's like, sometimes you don't know what your value is until you actually go through something, you know? Like, you don't realize that this one thing was important to you until you experience this other thing, which may be the opposite, right? It's kind of like that concept of what I tell my clients. It's like, you've gone through an unhealthy or a toxic or whatever you want to call it relationship that didn't feel good. And so then that highlights what you do want, right? And it highlights what's important to you. So like this experience over the weekend, right? This element of like sitting with the idea of him dating someone else and being okay with it because that was what our agreement was. But then at the same time realizing like, yeah, I don't know if I want that kind of agreement anymore with someone. Like I you know, in terms of like, if it's going to progress, like I don't think I don't want it to be an open relationship. Like, I just don't want it to be an open relationship. I would want for that moment, you know, for that chapter to be, you know, I guess, I mean, I don't use the word commitment, because just the agreement, because at any point they can leave, right? At any point he can say, you know, this isn't for me. At any point I can say that, you know, like, this doesn't fit for me anymore, you know, and and being okay with that. And so I guess in the moment that we're in it, engaging and interacting, and I think yeah, it's about setting limits and boundaries. Yeah. And you know, if he's not okay with that, then I think we're gonna have to like set limits and boundaries about, you know, just some of the stuff that we do, right? No more friends with benefits type of stuff. You know, because it doesn't make sense if I'm wanting. Why are relationships so hard? Why do I need a king for my throne? I mean, I know, I'm just, you know, being a crybaby here. I'm sure I'll figure it out. Yeah. But it makes sense, right? It makes sense. I have to be honest. I know what I know, right? He doesn't know what I know. With my dreams and what may potentially be, and yeah. And you know, if he thinks it's overwhelming, it's overwhelming. And yeah. Okay. The other thing that I learned, and I'll put a link to it, that what's her name? Abraham Hicks came out with a video this morning on well-being, and I appreciated it because it talks about there's a reference to empaths, and there's a reference to there's one of the audience people talks about being an empath and how it's affecting his ability to really like kind of do his own thing, right? Because he's so consumed with what the other person is physically feeling. He was identifying like physical symptoms that he's able to pick up on, even by having a conversation over the phone. And it was interesting how Abraham Hicks kind of described it. There was this element of awareness and acknowledgement that yes, everybody perceives energy and receives energy and processes energy at different levels, right? Makes sense, right? That I understand. But then also recognizing and almost kind of like calling out empaths as caring too much about what other people think, caring too much. And the way Abraham Hicks worded it, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. This element of like, it happens to be that empaths care for other people too much, but also care about other people so much that they also care about how they're being perceived, right? So it's like, I care about you so much, I love you so much, but I want to make sure you like me, right? I like it, and I'm gonna show you how much I love you, but internally desiring the same thing back, like love me back the same as I'm gonna love you, right? Like one extreme, and right, everything's purposeful. I just finished writing an email to someone about like how there was an empath that you know, we share videos on, and how this empath talked about how, oh crap, it's 10:58. There's a trauma, right? These gifts, right, of being able to see through people's BS is a trauma gift, really. And I said, yeah, but it also helps people have a sense of purpose or feel like they have a sense of like purpose in their pain. There's purpose for their pain, and it helps people resolve this question of like, why have I gone through so much pain and challenge living this type of life? And I was explaining to this person that a lot of people use this as a way to just bring awareness and kind of be okay with the fact that my pain was purposeful so that I could develop these gifts. Why? Because then it's going to create that much more of an expansion from me when I work through the healing process. If we look at all of the great artists and the people whose music and art really like moves people, it's because their internal, like often not like these creative people, there's like wounds inside them, like they feel the pain and it comes out in this manner, right? And so then it impacts generations, it impacts movement in society, and so there's purpose to it. However, there's also the need to balance that, right? Otherwise there's this continued process of like continuing to get hurt basically, right? And so it's like, can one recognize when that's happening? Can one recognize like, you know what, I'm done with my expansion, like I just want to be okay. You know, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but just this element of like recognizing the intensity of taking in the information, processing it, and also giving of self, right, to that extreme, and being able to balance that for oneself. Because then it made me think of the other spectrum, right? How you have individuals, oftentimes it's those individuals who have the cognitive delays, right? Or who are on the spectrum where the emotional, it's not cognitive delays, it's more the autism spectrum that I can think of offhand. But no, there's even like individuals who aren't tapped in, or not tapped in, can't perceive and process energy and emotions in the same manner as those on this spectrum, right? And so these are the people that were like, oh, they're so cold, oh, they don't care, right? Narcissists, it's all about them. It's you know, like just the other extreme of the lack of empathy, and how that can look like in different people, right? And how it's the other extreme, right? It's all selfishness. It's all about me and my needs, and I'm not, and I can't either. I choose not to. I can't address other people's needs. Like, for example, if they're on the autism spectrum, they just really can't. And so can they? So it's just the two spectrums, right? And this, what Abraham Hicks says is this element of working towards that balance, I guess. I'll include the link. If I remember what it's called. I have it saved. Oh, Finding Your True Self, something like that. But, okay, my client's here. So, hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is, you know, great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, you know, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, you know, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and you know, we'll see what else comes next for me.